They told me I ruined the wedding. I didn't scream. I didn't sob. I didn't fall to my knees or clutch my chest like some grieving actor in a movie. I cried. That's it. I cried. And for that, they told me to leave. It was my brother's wedding. My baby brother. The kid I taught how to throw a baseball. The one I drove to school when he missed the bus. The one I stood up for in middle school when he was too afraid to tell Dad he'd failed algebra. And now, he was standing at the altar. Tall, proud, nervous, in love, about to start a new chapter in his life. A chapter I desperately hoped would go better than mine had. I didn't expect the tears. I hadn't cried in months, not even during the divorce, not even when I packed up my half of the closet and left behind a home that used to be filled with laughter. I had armored up, locked it all down. But there was something about that moment, the music, the vows, the way he looked at her. It cracked something open. And the tears came, quietly, just enough to sting the corners of my eyes, then fall, one by one. And yet, the stares, like I'd shouted a confession, like I'd drawn a spotlight onto myself without even moving a muscle. I brushed them off, thought maybe they were surprised. After all, I'm not known to show emotion. I'm the stoic one, the strong one, the he'll-handle-it one. I was wrong. Because after the ceremony, after the applause, the kiss, the recessional, I felt a shadow over me. The bride's mother. She didn't whisper. She didn't ask. She accused. "Are you seriously crying over your divorce?" she hissed. Her husband, not far behind, nodded with that smug, judgmental silence that says we've already made up our minds. I blinked, stunned, tried to respond, to explain. No, I'm proud of him. I'm just happy, that's all. But they weren't listening. "You made it about you," she snapped. "You took attention away from their moment. You shouldn't have come." I stood there like a statue while they told me to leave. And as I turned to find my brother, the one person I thought would understand, I was told he wanted me gone too. I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I just walked out. The next morning, the text came from my brother. "I'm disappointed. You shouldn't have come if you weren't emotionally fit to attend." Then one from his wife. Similar tone. Same message. I stared at those words, numb, as if I'd punched a hole in their wedding by shedding a tear. As if my quiet grief, or quiet joy, was some kind of poison. Here's the truth they didn't want to hear. I wasn't crying over my divorce. I was crying because I saw someone I love find the kind of happiness I used to believe in. Because there was hope in that moment. Because for a second, I remembered how love is supposed to feel. Because seeing my brother take a leap that once left me shattered, and doing it with such conviction, moved something deep in me. And yeah, maybe it was a contrast, a mirror. Maybe part of me was mourning, while another part was celebrating. But is that really so wrong? Weddings are emotional. They stir things up. They remind us of everything we've gained and everything we've lost. But no, I didn't wail. I didn't sob. I didn't make a speech or cause a scene. I wiped my face with my sleeve and sat still. Still, they made it about me. They projected their assumptions, decided my tears couldn't possibly be love, or pride, or overwhelming joy. No, they had to be selfish. They had to be disruptive. And worse, my brother, the kid who used to climb into my bed during thunderstorms, didn't even ask, didn't call, didn't say, "Hey, are you okay?" Or, "What happened out there?" He just believed them. He let their story replace mine. And that hurt more than the divorce ever did. because I thought we were closer than that. I thought he knew my heart. I thought I mattered more than a misunderstanding. But now, I have to wonder, did they already resent me before that moment? Had I become the divorced brother in their minds, the one whose presence was a risk, a potential stain on their perfect wedding album? Had they decided, before I even arrived, that I was broken? I keep replaying it, every second. Did I breathe too hard? Did someone hear me sniffle? How loud does grief have to be before it's considered an intrusion? And what message does this send to every man who's been told to bottle it up? You want us to open up, to heal, to feel. And yet when we do, quietly, respectfully, in the back row, you tell us we're not welcome. What was I supposed to do? Sit there with a frozen smile, clapping robotically? I loved my brother enough to show up, to be present, to feel something real. And that was my crime. So, am I the asshole? Or was I just a human being in a moment too big to stay silent? I may never get an answer from them, but maybe someone out there will hear this and say, "You weren't wrong. You were real." Because that's all I was. Real. And I won't apologize for that. So, am I the asshole? This one hurts, because it's not about a ruined wedding. It's about the pain of being misunderstood by the people you love most. What started as a brother supporting his sibling became a lesson in how quickly vulnerability can be punished, how quickly emotion can be weaponized. And here's the truth. Crying at a wedding isn't a disruption. It's the heartbeat of what that moment represents. Love, loss, hope, family. Sometimes it's not the loudest cries that echo the deepest. It's the silent ones. The ones we try to hold back but can't. The ones that slip out during vows and choruses and quiet goodbyes. To the OP, you weren't the villain. You were a man brave enough to feel. And in a world that often tells men not to cry, your tears spoke volumes. To everyone listening, have you ever judged someone for how they grieved or how they loved? Have you ever let a whisper become a verdict? Let's remember this. We don't know what anyone's carrying into the room with them. So when the tears fall, maybe the right thing isn't to ask why they're crying, but to simply sit beside them. And if you've ever cried at a wedding, even for your own reasons, you're not alone. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And as always, stay human.